Caught up in your love affair, and we'll never be royals. It's a running out of blood. Hello, my lovelies. I hope you had a lovely day today. Today is Saturday, May 6, 2023, and it was a glorious day because Charles was officially called King Charles III, as today was his coronation. And Camilla is the queen, not queen consort. She is officially a queen. And it's been a long time since we had a king and queen. I mean, we had the Duke of Edinburgh, who was the consort, but not officially king. So before we go into the topic of today's podcast, the song of choice is by Lorde. It's called Royals. I love that song, and I'm sure you do too. Quite popular. Okay, so I'm not going to talk much about the coronation because I already spoke about it in my podcast earlier today, titled When I Met King Charles III When He Was Prince of Wales, as well as Prince William and Prince Harry. And yes, I did know them personally, so it was quite nostalgia. And in fact, I saw Prince Seso and his wife Ma Marang from Lesotho, and I knew them quite well, and I saw them on the telly, and it was great seeing them walking down there. And actually, lots of the royals that went there, I knew Beatrice was there, and I met her years ago. Princess Anne, I met her on June 18th, 2016 at Polo, actually. So it was quite lovely seeing all of them on the television. And no, I'm not invited. I haven't talked to anybody since 2016. And my previous podcast tells more about the story, just a quick summary, but I'm sure I'll go into it as time goes on. But however, out of respect, I don't mention any of the mutual people we know that sort of mention in the media because of Harry's spare, but out of respect in their privacy, I'm not mentioning any of the mutual people we knew at one point, acquaintances, just out of respect. So I just want to let you know that in certain details, I will use fake names, just out of respect. So, all right, in future stories. So the topic today is about Prince Harry, and I kind of did not want to really do any podcasts about him, but I felt I needed to, due to the fact I did know him personally. I met Harry in 2004. I used to be a patron for Santa Ballet, so I did know him on a personal level, more like acquaintance personal. Well, no, 2004 was definitely personal, and I'm not claiming anything. I just knew him because of the polo people. We all had mutual acquaintances. I made friends over that summer because I was a non-playing member at several polo clubs. And being a girl, I was 23 at the time. I'm now 43. Being a girl and blonde, I got invited to all these parties, and that's how I got to know the polo inner circle. So I got to know everybody. And it's such fun memories. And they actually, all of them, inspired me to quit my passion I had to work in politics to work in charity. And the reason why I focus on helping out with charity, Centrepoint and Santa Ballet, I talked in the previous podcast, but to sum it up, William and Harry treated me like a lady. And you have to understand how it was being a woman into the polo world, a bunch of these horny polo guys in their sexy white trousers. I'm sorry, they do look good, but they tend to take advantage of women. And there's a lot of dark memories I'm not ever going to say to public out of respect. And I, want to forget about it. But when I showed up, there was a misconception with several of the people, one polo player especially. And I have great, a good heart for him. Deepest respect for him. I admire him. He's an amazing person. But at the time, what he did was douchey. It really was. And I think he thought when I showed up by myself to polo one day that I was there to shag, a one-night stand. And I don't do that. So he made an assumption, the polo player made an assumption that I was what you call a prick tease. That's a British term where you just flirt, or a salty vixen, because I was a vixen in a salty situation. That's where it comes from. And actually, hello, my lovelies, the word lovelies comes from that polo player who said lovely, lovely all the time. So it's kind of a thank you, because all of them made me a stronger woman. And William had protected me when that person was harassing me because he drank too dang much. Not William, the dude. And Harry did the same thing years later, and that's why I supported their charities as thank you for helping me and being kind to me when I was by myself, showed up to Polo one day. All right, so Harry, oh Harry, dear Harry, as you know, Harry came to his father's coronation. The problem was Harry did not come with Meghan or his 2 children. He flew in just for his father to get crowned and skedaddle out, and the story was to fly back to California to celebrate his son's 4th birthday. Now, the reality of it is, Meghan was a little bit selfish on this and sheepish at the same time. She could have taken both kids. They all could have gone as a family. Maybe not attend the coronation, but they could have celebrated their birthday in England, or Archie's birthday, 4th birthday. Happy birthday, Archie, by the way. So that was really dumb on both Harry and Meghan's part. I don't know. I'm sure it was brought up in conversation, but I think Meghan might have felt, well, with all the shit show that happened with the Netflix and the book, and I'm sure more stuff's coming out. She probably felt uncomfortable and probably did not want the paparazzi following them around. But if they stayed behind closed doors and not shown up to the coronation, I don't think the media would have gone gaga. They did that before with Wallace Simpson and many other royals who were shunned because of the media. And Wallace Simpson, it's another story, and I would love to go into a topic of that because a lot of historians have gotten her story wrong. And I did a research paper on Edward and Wallace Simpson when I was at uni. So, okay, let's go with the top stories, what the titles are. And this is so funny. So People magazine titled, Prince Harry and Prince William don't interact at Charles' coronation. What a dumb title. Second one, Prince Harry jets off after being royally frozen out of coronation. That's the Daily Beast. Fox News, Prince Harry continues to slight King Charles with heartless behavior, according to expert, yada, yada, yada. The reason why People magazine, the Harry and Wills are not talking or interacting, was very stupid. Because what's Harry supposed to do? Jump over a couple of rows and run to the front and give his big bro a hug? No, that was one. That'd be dumb. 2, you don't do that. You have respect. You're there. You talk respect as an adult. So that title is just stupid. But yes, but Harry did show up and he felt out of place. I think a lot of it is because when you're used to something and when you go away from it, it mentally messes with you. You get mentally exhausted. I know, because when I helped out with charities and I was part of a different world and knew a lot of people, and when you pull away from it, those people you knew, they don't talk to you anymore because you're nothing. You're all about giving money. And I actually did have I would say mental health situation why I pulled out of charities, and it had something to do with what happened at one of the fundraising events I had went to. And it wasn't the charity itself, it was because I recognized somebody that did something a little bit dark, I wouldn't say many years ago. I saw him and it got triggered, and because I had no one to talk to about it, I let it take the best of me. And years later, I actually talked to the person and I said, you inspired me. I want you to know that. And that was it. Keep the negative and turn it to positive, because you can't linger on negativity. You just can't. You see what happens on TikTok with the entire woke world. Everybody's so dang woke, they're telling the problems on TikTok, and those problems get told on social media, such as YouTube, and people are mocking. There's certain things you just got to get up on social media. So I'm going to play a clip for you from BBC, where it talks about Prince Harry arriving at King Charles' coronation in Westminster Abbey.
Here at the Abbey, members of the British royal family have been arriving after members of the foreign royal families already taken their place. And there's Harry, the Duke of Sussex, was arriving with a group that includes Mike Tyndall and Zara, and Duke of York and his 2 daughters and their husbands. And they'll be taking their places quite near the front of the Abbey itself, down near the coronation.
So yes, they were not, in the same area where William was, but he wasn't close. If Harry was still a working royal, he would have been probably in the front or second row, or possibly sitting next to his wonderful Auntie Anne, and it would have been a different situation. But because he's not a working royal, he can't, according to the law, I guess, or the possession or whatever, he can't walk with William and Kate. That's just part of it. And yes, I mean, Harry's probably is being frozen out right now. I think a lot of bitterness is going on. And I still stand by the fact that, yes, Harry wrote a book, Spare. And it's great he did that, except it should never have been published publicly. It should have gone to the people he was addressing to work it out. And just say, hey, this really bothered me. I want you to know where I was coming from. But I know Harry, and I know for anyone out there, we've all been there, where you feel alone. You have no one to talk to. And sometimes therapists are not very helpful. I went to one many years ago, and she was, I don't know if she was smoking something. I don't know what was wrong with her, but she gave the most bizarre advice. It was so bad and laughable that she should have been a TikTok star. It was so horrible. She must have been very woke or something. I don't know. And I'll tell you about the advice someday in the future. It was the stupidest thing. So my thoughts about Harry is this. I think as time goes on, I think the rift will heal as long as they don't, and I mean, Meghan and Harry don't continue talking to the public about personal things. Remember what I said earlier in my podcast and in the previous podcast and telling my story about how I knew such and such person, William and Kate. Well, I did know Kate, actually. I met her once. But, Wills and Harry and King Charles. I did not meet Camilla. I saw her from afar. I did meet the Queen. Who else did I meet? I see Fergie, her two daughters. I did meet Prince Andrew. I did not meet Edward. I would had loved to meet Edward because he likes history. And he had a lovely history segment or series many years ago. And I remember the one he talked about, Edward VIII, because I used that from my paper at uni. So that was really cool. And, of course, I met Princess Anne. I had met, Peter Phillips. Well, sort of. And that's a story maybe someday I will share. Maybe I won't because, it's a quite funny and embarrassing story. And, I met a lot of people over the years. Oh, the King and Queen of Belgium, before they were King and Queen, I did meet them at a charity event. And see, I almost met the King of Spain when he was Prince before he got engaged. I could have met him at a charity event, but I ended up staying in England at the time to go to polo. And it's not hard to meet royals anymore, celebrities. Oh, I knew Prince Rashid of Jordan. I met him through polo. I had his phone number at one point. Of course, not anymore. It's many, many years ago. He was single and I was single. And last time I talked to him, again, many years ago, I sent a message to him back in the States, and he called me when he was in the States, and he was going to a charity polo thing in California, so I flew out there, and I met one of his American friends who had a Jaguar, I never forget, and I got to ride it. It was like a greenish color, I believe. It's been a long time. It's early 2000s, 2006 maybe. Yes, it was around that time, 5 or 6. Maybe it was a year later in 2004. Sorry, 2004 I came back home. So 2005 or 6 around that time. And it was Palm Springs. And the guy said, I had Paris Hilton's phone number on speed dial. And he literally calls her. And I love Paris. She said, I'm busy right now with my family. We'll talk later. And she hangs up on him. But I thought it was hilarious. But I did see her at the polo club at Palm Springs at that point. She was driving out. So I think she was going to her family's. So I never talked to Paris Hilton. Oh, I knew Taylor Swift. I knew Benedict Cumberbatch. I met John Bon Jovi, Mick Jagger, Tom Parker Bowles. I could tell you that story in another podcast. I did meet a lot of people over the years. And I don't mind talking about the public ones, but anything that we know, mutual people that have been mentioned in the spotlight because of, the media being hungry and stupid, I will not give details on that out of respect. So anyways, my lovelies, my take on Harry is I just hope that he learns to stop talking to the media. See, the Harry I knew hated the media a lot. And he, his own friends and acquaintances, and people have met him over the years, myself included, knew never to speak to the media. We protected Harry. Even if you met him like for 5 seconds of your life, you protect because, you can tell how bad the media is. And now you got social media and TikTok and Twitter, and it's just the bullying online is so bad. I mean, I've seen hashtags, William is a bully, William is finished, Harry's finished. I mean, negative stuff about Camilla. Someone brought up the whole Charles and Camilla tampon gate. Their phones were hacked many years ago, and it was funny and quite embarrassing, but why would we bring that up? How many of us spoke in codes when we didn't want people listening to the conversation? We all have. So, all right, my lovelies. I thought, here's my point of view, and I hope you have a lovely night. Until next podcast, goodbye.